Welcome to another special edition podcast of Bigfoot and the Bunny for the Paranormal UK Radio Network. My name is Chris Carr.
And I'm Kristen Johnson.
And we hope you guys had a good week. We wanted to do a nice little introduction for you, as usual. And this one's kind of interesting. The blessing of this introduction is to tell you about how we ended up putting this podcast together. And what I mean by that is we talked to Cody, Desbiens, and Satori, Hawes this week, the paranormal couple, and they have a haunted museum, and they were actually talking to us from that museum, and the objects are around them and stuff. And while we were having our interview at different times, we started hearing noises like in their background, and they looked a little concerned, right? Like they kept looking over to like the same side, and eventually Cody gets up to go see what the racket's about. Just sounded like, I don't know, like somebody throwing boxes or something moving, falling, something.
Yeah, it was really weird. We all heard it, and
we all heard
our listeners heard it.
Yep. And then it gets even a little bit stranger, right?
It does. Satori had at one point talked about a doll, Liza, that was behind her, directly sitting behind her. And as she was talking about her, we got a woman's EVP. We don't know what it said or anything. We just know it was a woman.
Voice, yeah.
It was a woman's voice. And and our listeners had heard it as well. And they said she even had an accent, which Satori said, yes, she does. So they heard it as well.
Yeah, everybody heard it. I didn't hear it myself as clearly with the accent. I couldn't tell what it said, but I distinctly heard voices. And at one time, it was in my left ear, and I'm tapping, if you see the video, like on my headphones, because we wear headphones when we do the show and podcast, and I kept hearing these voices, and you did too. Like,
I did as well. So I kept tapping
tapping each other and like signaling, okay, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Kind of, without saying it out loud.
But being live, I mean, our listeners heard it as well.
They did, yeah. So what was bizarre, though, is when we went to put this together and we played it back, none of those noises or voices were on the recording, in the raw recording. So I don't know how that happened. We actually told a little story that was similar to that.
Yes, we have a story as well.
For the show, you guys couldn't hear it, and was another kind of situation similar to this, where we went back to hear it. We both heard it with our own ears, and even our listeners heard it in real time as we were streaming. And when we played it back, there was nothing there.
Nothing.
It was just there, us talking. So super bizarre. And we had a lot of fun with these guys.
We did.
From one paranormal couple to another. We think you're doing great. Yeah, you guys really seem to have it together. And that museum is absolutely haunted.
Absolutely.
Just based on talking to, having that experience in the interview alone tells us that is quite haunted. But they got some great stories and objects. We're going to get into all that. So sit back, relax. Let's get this mother rolling. Welcome to Bigfoot
and the Bunny.
This is a couple's journey into the mysterious,
the unknown, and the paranormal.
I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I'm your host, Kristen Johnson.
Together we are Bigfoot and the Bunny. And we're live. Welcome to Bigfoot and the Bunny. I'm Chris Carr.
And I'm Kristen Johnson.
And we have had a pretty good week. As promised, last weekend we did our little anniversary pilgrimage to the wonderful Spider Gates Cemetery in Worcester, Massachusetts. And we do actually have some data for you real quick. We haven't parsed everything that we kind of recorded, but we do have one thing. But before I get to that, very important, I wanted to let you guys know that the No Bird movement has reached out to Bigfoot and the Bunny, and I received an email. I've printed it out here for your sort of convenience, and it says, "Dear Bigfoot and the Bunny, I am writing to inform you that birds are, in fact, not real. They are government-issued drones, and they have been watching you for many years. The bird poop on your car is a GPS-based tracking device and a two-way satellite phone. Please stop singing in your car. You are neither Robert Plant nor Chris Cornell. You are certainly not Ronnie James Dio. Sincerely, Colonel Ren Swan, Lieutenant Robin Finch of the Project Bluebird. So there you have it. No bird movement. Sorry. However, we would like to let you guys know if you would like to get in touch with us, you can reach us at bigfootandthebunny@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook pretty easily. I think it's facebook.com/bigfootandthebunny.
Yes.
Boom, right there.
Also, Dark Horse Paranormal.
That's right, Dark Horse Paranormal for our audio-only podcast, wherever you get those podcasts. So we did have one little bit of data we wanted to play for you guys real quick from last weekend. We did have a spirit box with us, and as soon as we turned it on, it actually said our names, especially yours. So there's at least twice. And I have a recording of that. It's just a clip that I will play for you guys. And this is the clip, and you'll hear us just getting ready. And we turned on the box, and we're still kind of talking, and it says our names. And then I clipped the part with the names and just kind of slowed it down a little bit so you hear them clearly. And the rest of the stuff we'll get to another time. But just for now, let's start with FM.
Yes, please. I hear people, but I don't know if it's people. I just know how it is when we get here. When we get here.
So that was kind of cool. We like that. And I don't know, despite what those people told us, I do still believe in birds. So we've got some great guests for you guys today. We're very excited with Jazzed. It is Cody Ray, Desbiens, and Satori Hawes. Cody Ray and Satori from the Travel Channel's Ghost Nation series are paranormal investigators, researchers with the Atlantic Paranormal Society, otherwise known as TAPS, which was founded by Satori's father, Jason Hawes, back in 1990. After working on a few TAPS cases, they found that they had a connection to each other like no other. Cody and Satori found that when they are together, it seems that they have the ability to open the door to intelligently communicate with the other side. What makes their communication different than psychics or mediums is the intelligent communication can be heard by others as well. This ability has enabled both of them to gain a better understanding of the other side and help bring messages to those who need it most. Aside from investigating, Cody and Satori are also the curators of the paranormal couple's haunted museum of objects, oddities, and curiosities. So we are pretty psyched to have these guys on and talk about those haunted objects and all kinds of great stuff. Right here, I lost my window. Welcome, Cody and Satori. How are you guys? Can you hear us?
Hi.
Hi.
You'll
Can
have
you
to give us a little bit? You sound a little choppy. Or if we
little choppy?
don't
Yeah.
hear your question the first time.
Okay.
We'll do our best.
You actually sound like a robot.
Oh, no. I hope our internet's all right. Okay. Boy, I'll tell you, the technical gremlins follow us around, especially with high-energy people like yourselves. So that does happen, but we can hear you okay. Let's see, we've got a little bit of chat going, and maybe make sure
Choppy.
everybody can hear us. Oh, Nathaniel Gillis is up there. What up? Hey, buddy.
Hello, brother from another mother.
People are already asking questions. All right. Well, let me see. The two of you have grown up around the paranormal scene. Individual, can you tell us your first memories of what we would call paranormal today? And did you have any haunted experiences as children? We'll start with Satori.
Okay. I think I heard your question. Again, I'm just going to say it sounds a lot like robots. So I can guess what you're asking.
Yeah, I'm asking you about your childhood, what it was like growing up.
Experience or what you would consider.
Yeah, they're checking our end too. Oh, you guys froze. Oh,
So
man.
That is strange.
this is the strange.
Do you want to drop real quick and reconnect and just see if it
Well,
fixes
we got
itself? Sometimes that works.
Oh my goodness.
Do you want to drop in and reconnect real fast?
I'm gonna answer first, and
We can't hear you too well.
all right. So my first experience, at least when I was a child, I was around 8 years old, and it was in the house I grew up in Massachusetts. And what had happened was I was laying down in my room one night, and I woke up, and I didn't feel well. And what had happened was I went into my parents' bedroom, just like probably any other 8-year-old would do when they don't feel well. And I woke my parents up. I said, Mom, Dad, I'm not feeling that well. And they invited me to spend the night in their room. So I climbed in between both of them and tried falling asleep. And I remember tossing and turning for about 15 minutes. And finally, I opened my eyes up and I saw what looked like about 10 to 15 men slowly circling the bed. They were going through the wall on the left side of the headboard, gliding around the bed and going through the wall on the right side of the headboard. And it just kept gliding around in a circle over and over and over again. And of course, this petrified the heck out of me because I had never seen anything like that in my life. I remember distinctively seeing the television through one of their heads. And some were holding masks up to their face. Some just had, black holes for eyes. And they were all mumbling the same thing over and over again that I couldn't understand what was being said. And I think that's why I'm really big into, recording audio and stuff, because that's what I wanted to catch. I wanted to record what I heard that night. So while I was seeing this, I remember trying to wake my mom up. She wouldn't wake up. I remember trying to give him a little nudge. She wouldn't wake up. So it over my head and trying to, eventually I ended up going to sleep, and that experience never happened again. But everybody that lived in that house had some sort of experience, whether it was, footsteps running up and down on the second floor when nobody was up there. We'd run upstairs thinking somebody had broken in, and nobody was there. Doors opening and closing, people thinking that they're seeing other family members, but, if we weren't home at the time. And come to find out, after doing research on the land, the home was built on the property where an old coal mine used to be. And, this was in the time before they started keeping a lot of records on deaths and things like that. So, we're not sure, who died on the property. Of course, everywhere in New England is all Native American ground. No matter where you are, you're probably on some sort of native land,
I lived in one of the oldest houses in Swan.
That was really what swung the door.
Yeah. No, that's really.
That's what swung the door open to the paranormal.
Yeah, it's King Philip's War.
King Philip's War, of course, was a big influence, I think, on a lot of the hauntings around here. A lot of times people attributed that to the Bridgewater Triangle, but, I don't think we're limited by that triangle. Certainly Rhode Island is very haunted and sits outside of it. Your audio still is really, really choppy. Can you hear me? Would you want to drop and reconnect real fast and see if that?
Yeah, we're going to try to reconnect.
Okay, just because I want to get you guys in the best way possible. And it's real quick. Just disconnect, reconnect. I'll pull you right back into the screen. All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. Yeah, just having a little bit of audio issues there. We want to try to clear that up. Going out to a lot of people today.
Absolutely.
And this does eventually become a podcast as well. So.
That's right. Yeah, send it.
Yeah, we're getting some comments out there that the audio is not good. So I'll try to correct that for you. A lot of times, just reconnecting makes a difference. I don't know what it is with the software. I don't know what it is about us. Gremlins, we certainly seem to have a few.
Especially when we have two people, a couple, just almost like us.
Yeah. I mean, they are the paranormal couple, but, we are a couple's journey into the mysterious, the unknown, and the paranormal. So This is really fun. We've been looking forward to it. No, we have a lot of questions for these guys. We're looking forward to it. And you guys have any questions out there? You're listening to us on any of the Facebook live streams or on YouTube. Feel free to put up your questions. We'll try to get to them. We've got some of our own, and we will certainly try to work in some time to get to you guys' questions as well. Still waiting for them to join.
Can't believe we got hate mail from the bird.
The bird people, the no bird people. So I do see here's something we can talk about. Joshua Dixon. Yes, I live on Indian lands in Florida, and it's highly active in my home.
Wow.
Yeah. We're not surprised. Actually, my first haunted experience was actually my parents seeing a Native American gentleman who used to walk by our house every day when I was a small child. And they both told me the same story, for years. They would see him every day, and he always had this corduroy suit on. And they never say anything to anybody, just see him walk by down the street. And my parents asked the neighbor, who is that guy that walks by every day? What guy? And then one night, my father woke up, and he looked over, and he saw the Native American gentleman standing, hovering over the bed over my mother. And being a wild man that he was, he kept a knife under his pillow. He grabbed the knife and went right through. He almost stabbed my mom. Thank God he didn't.
Cody joined.
And it went right through him, and he disappeared. And he said he just remembered the feel of the corduroy as his hand went through. So that's pretty interesting. All right, it looks like these guys are back. Let's see if they're sounding better. Hey guys, how's it now?
Oh my!
There we are. Yay!
Beautiful.
Sometimes that's all it takes. I don't know why, but second time's a charm. So welcome back. We were just talking about Native American hauntings a little bit because of the lands around here in New England, and one of our questions was or comments was a Florida-based person. Joshua mentions that he has the same issue, and his house is built on Native American lands.
Oh yeah.
So Michelle Timmons mentions, I hear chants when I'm near the tribe cemetery. So yeah, we actually have a podcast all about Native American hauntings. It's under Dark Horse Paranormal. If you guys look that up, if you're interested in exploring that subject further, we went to some areas that these guys are probably familiar with. All right.
That's right.
Most likely.
One Rock is a pretty famous location and one of our in our haunted New England area, and I'm sure you guys know that in Rehoboth, Massachusetts.
I grew up over there. My parents had an antique shop. This is weird, and I was an only child, and they let me go out there and just play, and I played like every day by myself on One Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
We're very close to that right now, actually. Like,
Is that right?
Throw away. Yep.
Oh wow, Rehoboth
so
is a pretty haunted town.
You
known
guys
for
are next to me then.
the haunted
Cool.
hitchhiker, and as well as Village Cemetery over there was quite haunted as well.
Yep.
In their times. So, anyways, getting back to your childhood, you were saying you got into audio because you had seen these figures. They were mumbling something.
Right.
They had no eyes. They're spectral figures,
Yes.
and you just weren't sure of the message. And I could see that just being a real driver.
Especially when you're 8, you're like scared to death.
Yeah, that had to be frightening.
Oh, absolutely. It absolutely was. And thankfully, I grew up in a household that was Catholic, but we weren't, super strict. My grandparents, lived on the first floor, and then my mom, dad, and myself, I was an only child, lived on the second. But we were really big into Halloween. I mean, we were probably the number one decorated house in the town. Always would make the front page of the paper. So, we were definitely into ghosts and spirits. And, like I said, everybody was experiencing something, even my grandparents, which was, that's to say a lot, if they were experiencing something too, being brought up really strict Catholic.
Sure.
And, actually one of the objects we have here in the museum is a painting that belonged to my grandparents, and it belonged to their grandparents that was brought over from
I was gonna say
Italy.
family,
And,
wow.
their real, only paranormal thing that they've always talked about was it's a painting of Christ, painted in Italy. And, when my great grandfather, was getting ready to pass away, he would pray every night. and claimed that this painting of Christ started talking to him and calming him down and saying, everything's going to be okay and you have nothing to worry about. And then he felt fine after that and ended up, having probably a much more peaceful death than being afraid, And then when my grandfather passed away, it was a very similar story to that. And, he always used to tell me the story, very frequently because it was probably the only paranormal thing that ever happened to them. And like I said, they were very strict Catholics, so this was very out of the ordinary for them. And that was kind of the only connection that I had with them when it comes to this type of stuff. So, absolutely really strange activity when I grew up in that house. And, I was just really happy to have been brought up in a family that accepted it. Not as much as Satori's family, of course.
Right.
I grew up in it. That's it.
You were born into it.
Yes, paranormal was my family's, I guess you could say it was just my family's hobby before I was even born. So it was something that was started before I was even a thought. I grew up in a family that was very open to the paranormal, and then in 2004, when my father's show Ghost Hunters took off, it was like paranormal went into the spotlight. It was mainstream. It was popular. It was a big thing. So I always grew up just seeing my dad go to work and say, "Oh, he helps people," and that's really what made me want to do what I wanted to do. I had my own fair share of experiences when I was very young that some people may think are childhood imaginations and imaginary friends, but definitely weren't. At one point, I also grew up in a haunted hotel that my family owned, which I swear I will buy back one day if I ever get the money to do it. But yeah, little things like that and just having a really open family kind of pushed me into the paranormal.
Wow, that's really interesting. And it's fascinating to us because we ask a lot of our guests, how did you get involved in the paranormal? And it's the amount of childhood experiences. We both had them ourselves. We were both only children and, had a lot of time together. And that what you say, it might have seemed imaginary to tell some of these stories, but was very real to you. We totally understand. And it's surprising how many of our guests have those similar experiences. It is almost like, the haunted touches children in some way. And that sounds creepy, but
it is.
it is, and then they grow up to really want to know what happened to me. Was that real? And what did I see? And what are those answers? I know that's what drives us. We want to know all the answers. I want to record the stuff, like Cody mentioned, because I want to know what those messages are and how it works.
Yeah, exactly. And, after, at least my first experience, I wanted to learn about not just ghosts, but I started, you read a book about ghosts and then all of a sudden it starts talking about all different types of things that fall into the supernatural category, aliens, cryptozoology, and things like that. And then you also learn that, there's other things that this could be, normal explanations. Could I have had some sort of, hypnagogic or hypnopompic hallucination, that happened when you're falling asleep or waking up because I wasn't feeling well? I don't know because I never seen that again. But whatever it was, I know that something definitely was happening in that house because everybody was experiencing things. And, either way, if it was a real, true, haunted paranormal experience or something with a normal explanation, that's what blew open the door to get people started. So I love hearing those stories when people have experiences, especially when they're kids, because it just kind of follows them with their lives, and it makes them give a better connection if they're working on a case with children, because you kind of have that commonality between yourself and your client, which is really cool.
Absolutely. I totally agree. It's becomes like a lifelong curiosity.
Yeah.
It's an unending rabbit hole.
It is, but it's actually sometimes it's more like a mission though too as well, because you want to help them.
Yeah, you want to help people. Try to give them answers. How did you become involved with TAPS, Cody? Because I know you've been on TAPS for a long time, and we've been friends on Facebook for a while. And did you roll up in your big wheel? When did you start with these guys?
So I've been. So after my first experience, of course, I wanted to join a team, especially because all the television shows are starting to come on television and things
Sure.
like that. And I had found out that, there's actual teams that do this. And amazingly, it's based in Rhode Island, one of the biggest ones. So I was probably around 15 or 16 years old, and finding a team to take on a 15 or 16-year-old was extremely difficult, which is totally understandable. But I just really wanted to learn, how the equipment works. I just wanted to get hands-on experience. You don't have to bring me into a client's home. I just want to learn about the equipment without spending thousands of dollars on all of this stuff. And thankfully, I was able to find one group who would let me join if my mom joined with me. So she joined with me, and I got to learn the group, the way to investigate and stuff. That group ended up breaking up apart, and I ended up joining another team in Rhode Island called Rise Up Paranormal, with Ken DaCosta. And I still, to this day, I still help him out on cases and things like that. But
Ken's a great guy.
Yeah, very great guy.
He is.
We know
We
him.
love Ken. We've had him on the show.
Yeah.
Ken is the guy you could go and say, "Hey, Ken, what's the weather going to be like tomorrow?" And then you walk and you've learned 3 things about the paranormal, but you don't know if it's going to rain.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yes.
He's
Yeah.
just he's so
love
knowledgeable.
Ken. He's
It's just my
awesome.
point. We love talking to him. Sure.
Absolutely. And so I was out on a case, private case with him, and Rise Up team, and I was paired up with a woman that wasn't on the team, and she was another investigator. I had never met her before, and Ken said, why don't you work with her tonight? And that was fine. I love working with different people and meeting new people. I love to talk, of course. And so we started working together. Her name was Tracy. And, we just really worked well together and investigated together. She really liked the way I investigate. Well, she happened to be the case manager for the TAPS home team, which is the team that was the non-production side of TAPS. So, of course, after the show started, TAPS started getting thousands of emails from around the country and around the world. And, of course, you couldn't put every case on television, because there were just way too many, and because of privacy reasons. Not everybody wants to be on television. So the TAPS home team was formed by Jason, to take care of the cases in New England, and follow the original TAPS mission of helping people, without the production side of things. So she was the case manager of the TAPS home team. It's still around today. And, she asked me right there, she goes, I really like the way you work. If you're up for it, then, I'll talk to Jason, and, we'd love to, bring you on the team. So I unknowingly, ended up being asked to come on the team. And of course, Jason, happened to like me, thankfully, and I joined. And then, it just hit off from there. I started working with, both Rise Up and TAPS, and, more and more as the, hundreds of cases. So before the pandemic, every weekend we were out doing a case with TAPS or Rise Up. And it's just become a really amazing thing. It's such a great group because there's just so many connections, that we've made through it. We can call a psychologist if we need to call a psychologist on a case. We have brain surgeons that we have connections with, which is crazy. Just so many people that we can call on, to assist cases. So I'm just really thankful to live in this part, the creepy attic of the United States, which is the perfect place to live if you're into this type of thing,
That's right. I agree.
Then I guess you could say, long story short, he got stuck with me.
So what happened? Did they pair you up
No. All right. I'm going to get into the story, all right, because you asked. So, so I wanted to go on my first, I did some investigations before, but I wanted to go on my first professional case where we went and it was an event kind of teaching investigation case, just to kind of get me used to people and working with people professionally. And TAPS case manager, Tracy, had contacted me and said, all right, we are going to be in Connecticut for a case. And I went, great. Not even, an hour or two later, I get a message on my phone, and Cody messaged me and said, hey, I hear you're going to be on the team and going to this investigation. I'm heading through that area. Let me pick you up and bring you to the case. he wasn't heading through that area. He just wanted to pick me up.
Very
And-
slick. Very
Yeah.
And we were great friends. We clicked immediately. We were great friends from there, and almost like inseparable. We started noticing weird things paranormal wise would start happening only when we were together. And that's where the strange side of what we do, the paranormal couple part, really kind of took off. And I think from there we just kind of realized we were like, hey, maybe we're going to be stronger together as a team.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I had been on the tap scene for about 4 years before Satori came on, and I was investigating for a few years before that in client homes, and it was the normal comparing to fishing, like we all most of us compare it to. A lot of times it's boring, and once in a while you get the bite that you're looking for.
Exactly what I just used the other day.
Yeah, so
fishing.
exactly, that's what it's like. It really is. But when Satori and myself started working together, like she said, it was just a lot of strange stuff
Every
started happening.
time there's a bite. We don't know why.
Yeah,
We do-
this is one of our big things we
Yeah.
want to get into with you because
Yeah.
we have that same experience.
We have the same
Obviously,
chemistry.
We're a paranormal couple too, and none of us are the first ones. They go way back, but
Absolutely.
there is some kind of chemistry or magic that happens. I worked on teams before, like years ago, and you'd be the whole night just like overnight trying to get an EVP and this kind of stuff, and then Kristen was opposed to the paranormal. She had traumatic experiences as a kid. It took me a long time to work her into doing this.
Very
But
low.
once we did it, it was like, wait, did you hear that?
Yeah.
It just
So
seems
now
to
I'm like the first.
seems
one
to
that's
work
like,
much better together than individually.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We've
I think
proved
it's
this
the
out.
energies. I think it's when certain energy comes together and it really just fits. I don't know if it's like a soulmate thing or a twin flame type of deal.
Synchronicity. It's something.
Yeah.
Synchronicity. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like an energy battery. It just works.
Right.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
It does. It's
You can
complementary
connect.
energy, and we're always trying to understand. We talk about it a lot. We're trying, why does this work better? We don't know. So we wanted to know what you guys thought and why that. I totally understand what you're saying. It's a real phenomenon.
Yeah.
You think that's what it is? It's just the complementary energies. Is it the male female thing? I don't think it's really that because there's more to it than that. There's something about just being a couple in this. It seems
Synchronicity.
to work really well.
Energy.
Right.
And like you said, the fishing gets better, right?
exactly.
You've now
Exactly.
figured out, what time the tide.
It's so bizarre because when we were out, we were out in the field the other day. We were at Spider Gates, and I said to Chris, "I'm like, this is like going fishing." I swear, I used that.
She used that analogy.
I did, and I was like, "Look, we're going fishing again." We started laughing. I can't believe you said that.
We need to all investigate together. Apparently, we all think
Serendipity
alike.
there.
Do you
Yeah,
know
absolutely. We'd love to do that.
if we did that, we'd probably break the paranormal barrier?
I know
I
you
know,
would.
right?
What kind of
Yeah.
things would we get?
I mean, you live near us, so we'd like have no problem, and
Sure.
that would be awesome.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We're
Yeah. We
broadcasting in Rhode Island.
love working with other people, and yeah, I definitely think it's an energy thing. And we found that, of course, we host a lot of paranormal events and stuff like that, and we believe that, of course, the living energy has a huge effect on the type of communication you get. Depending on the type of crowd we have, it seems like it depends on the type of how much success we get throughout the night as well. Because a lot of these places that we hold events, we've held events there, dozens of times, and we're used to things usually happening. And depending on what type of energy the crowd has, it plays a huge role on the type of data we collect. So I think it's along those lines, but I think it's just a little stronger for some reason, and it's just probably because of how connected a couple is. You know what I mean?
Be
I
completely
totally understand that. Yeah. And it's good to hear it from someone else. So you wonder, like, are we crazy? Like, what happened?
What the heck,
Lots
We
of
have a lot of
comments out there. People doing residentials. And let's see what else. Just want to say hi to these people. Michelle Timmons, hello. Kristen Nixon. Michelle says, paranormal. Does the paranormal couple have things donated to them, or do they collect and pay for them?
That's a good question.
Okay, so that is a really good question. And the answer to that is 90% of everything we have in this museum has been donated to us from a case where someone has felt that they are dealing with a haunted object and they've either decided to give it away or we've saved it from, the final option of it being destroyed. We feel that you shouldn't destroy an object because we think maybe it could make it worse for you. I mean, if I passed away and I love something so much and somebody destroyed it in front of me while I passed on, I would probably become a very grumpy spirit, to be very honest. So we try to encourage not destroying objects. We try to give advice before we even think about taking objects off the hands of people. When they feel that they cannot deal with these objects anymore or they feel that they want to destroy these objects, then we give them the option, hey, we will pay for shipping. We will meet you somewhere. We will do whatever we have to do to take this object for you and put it in a safe location where we can take care of it properly. So the answer to that is 90% of all objects we have obtained from cases such as that where they are cursed. They are from different places around the world, and people believe there's some religious or spiritual attachment to them, or an object possession attachment. Then we have a 10% of objects that we have been given or we have obtained because the theory of energy that may be held within them. And we are very honest people, and we say that from the get-go. If this is an object that may hold some sort of energy, we'll tell you that and tell you that we had gotten from other ways.
Right, yeah. We have, I think last time we checked, it's, well over 250, 300 objects now. And, since we've, become more public about, the whole collection and everything, we're getting probably a package, at least one package a week. And dolls seem to be the big thing right
like
now.
Horror
with
movies.
people because
Right. If people are familiar with Annabelle, of course, right from the movies.
And Robert the doll.
And Robert the doll.
Tell you
But
how
they're
many
not the only players in town, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we can't tell you how many. We have a whole wall of dolls.
because people think that these porcelain dolls or these older dolls have some sort of an attachment to them. I mean, we have to be honest when we say obviously not all of them have anything going on with them. And with us yet.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, not all of the objects we have, we've experienced the claims that go along with them. Some of the objects we haven't experienced anything with. We have surveillance cameras running in the museum 24 hours a day. Yep. And we definitely captured some strange stuff. We definitely have like a top 10 and a top 5 list of objects that we have here that have lived up to the claim.
I don't know if you can see it behind me, but there's a doll on this shelf, and we put her on this shelf because she will force herself back on the shelf if we put her anywhere else.
Yeah, we also like to put her.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we do a lot of live
streams.
We do a lot of live streams from this area too. So we always like to keep her in view of the people that are watching.
She likes
and
the
stuff like that. But we're always really straightforward with how the objects are reacting, and we notice that sometimes it takes time when you bring them into a new environment for them to live up to the claims. Sometimes a couple days, couple weeks, couple months, sometimes even a couple of years. I mean, we had an object here that didn't do anything for a while, and then like a year and a half later, all of a sudden it just started doing stuff. And I think this sounds kind of crazy, but we've definitely noticed that the objects, I shouldn't say the object, the spirits that are with the objects definitely interact with each other. Tori, why don't you tell that story about the dolls?
Do that next too. You have to.
It's the connection. It's the couple connection thing.
Well, we had our wall of dolls section over there used to be exactly where we have this phone right now. It used to cover the entire wall. But this doll behind me that I just previously pointed out, her name is Liza, and a little quick story recap. We had gotten her after a podcast. A gentleman had contacted Cody, and the only thing that would come out of his mouth was he was hysterical. He said, "Please help me. This doll is telling me to hurt myself and other people. Make it stop. I'm hearing voices in my head." So after we had calmed him down, he had admitted that he had a doll that he feels was haunting him. We had made sure that there wasn't any maybe psychological issues that would be going on with this gentleman. We had met him in public and taken this doll. We had asked why hadn't he thrown it out. He said, "I've tried and it keeps coming back." The garbage man had kept putting it back on his doorstep after he had thrown it in the dumpster.
Oh my God.
So we had brought her, and nothing was really happening, but he seemed a lot better after we had recapped with him. He was a completely different man. We had kept this doll. We were respectful towards her. We had her on this section because just from her negative claim, we wanted to kind of remove her from the dolls before, kind of quarantine We had come down here not too long ago, actually, and the entire wall of dolls, every doll we had, their head was turned 180 degrees backwards, facing the wall behind them, away from her. This made us stop and kind of look for a minute and try to think, okay, why are all their heads turned? We had noticed that they were all facing exactly away from her. The angles were perfect. So we had fixed them all, said maybe this is just a fluke, maybe it's like an interaction that was kind of random. So we had gone upstairs after fixing all the heads, came back downstairs a couple hours later, and all the dolls' heads were turned again. This time more aggressively. Sometimes they were like bent really strangely, so we had to fix it. And the only thing we could figure out that was really consistent was it was facing away from Liza. So we didn't know if it was actually the dolls or if Liza was doing this. So we had moved the doll wall separately across the room, and it stopped completely, almost like she didn't want them looking at her. Since then, several things have happened. We have moved her off the shelf. We've come back down. She's somehow on the shelf again, sitting perfectly fine. We have surveillance footage from our cameras at 2:30 in the morning. Liza had used her arm. She's a Victorian-era doll, so cloth body, porcelain hands, head and feet. She had somehow manipulated her arm to move it down, push herself up, and adjust herself on the shelf at 2:30 in the morning. We have that on camera. It was motion activated.
Oh my gosh.
She's an incredible object, so we've kind of given her her space.
That's really spooky.
It is.
The dolls turning their heads like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Just imagine our surprise.
We can imagine.
Is that a fear of you guys? Like, you have all these haunted objects, 250, 300 haunted things, some potentially very haunted, all in one room. Do you get worried things will go very, very wrong?
Well, we have approached the situation. We have separated any objects that are really, claimed to have been cursed or have some sort of negative entity attached to it that feels inhuman, or the claims seem inhuman. So we have separated them from the regular objects that we feel are nicer. I think the only concern is that how the spirits interact with each other. Because when we bring an object into this place, we give them a whole spiel. We're like, all right, we respect you, you respect us. We've gotten you out of a situation that could have been worse. We want to make sure that you feel comfortable here. You're allowed to roam. Just don't cause havoc on the other parts of the house. And we kind of give them this whole, you respect us, we respect you kind of thing. And it's worked. We've also surrounded this space with positivity. And I think the only thing that really goes on in this museum that makes us worried is when the objects interact with each other in a way that doesn't seem very nice or positive, like the heads turning around, or sometimes we'll find objects across the room in weird positions, like they were just thrown across the room. So that's the only time we're ever worried, not for our safety.
Right, yeah. I think we both think that, intention is everything. And if your intentions are that, nothing is going to hurt you, nothing is going to bother you, then we believe that that's not, nothing's going to bother you. And, that's one of the rules on the TAPS team. If you feel a little off, feeling well, and I think most groups should do this as well, just don't come. I mean, it's better off if you don't come. Whatever you believe in, believe in it. If you like to pray, pray. If you like to use crystals or sage, whatever. Whatever you do to, set your intentions that you're going to be okay, that's what you should do.
And also, we approach the situation as, if you're going to professionally collect these objects or make sure they are safe or take care of them, you can't approach it afraid of the object. You can't almost back up. It seemed like a dog hiding in the corner with, like
scared.
Yeah, you have to put your foot down. You have to be honest with them and stern with them, and you just have to. I mean, even with the cursed objects, we say, we respect you, you respect us. You don't cause any problems for us, we won't cause any problems. That's how it works around here. And even the cursed objects, I mean, we're not cursed yet, at least.
Right.
We don't have any negative outcome in our present right now.
Right,
Nothing's happened.
And that's what works out. I mean, we're great friends with other, museum owners. The Warren Museum, we're great friends with Tony, who runs the museum now. Great friends
Tony
with John Zappis as well.
Zappis.
And Tim Shaw up in New York. Just a lot of great people that, everybody does things differently. I mean, Tim Shaw, he's a spiritualist, And, he has his own way of doing things. Tony is
Sparrow,
Catholic. And
they hold objects
prayer.
very carefully, and they treat them a lot different than maybe we do here. And we respect that 100% too. They give us great advice. They're just great people. They're all supportive.
Absolutely. So whatever you believe in, that's what we find works. It's different for everybody.
Absolutely.
Joshua Dixon says, I'm sorry. I think if you honor them, you'll be safe. Exactly. Perfect. So,
yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yep.
In respect. Yep.
100%.
Yep.
Have you ever had a cursed object that was so cursed that you had to get rid of it?
No. And the reason is because I think we look at it as a way that our intention is positive. We put this wall around ourselves. We literally say when we do cases and, intelligently communicate with the other side like we do as a couple, we always do this thing where we say we're grounding ourselves. We put a wall around ourselves. We make sure that only positive energy and positive spirits that are protective of us are allowed in our space. And we approach it like that. And I think we've never had any negative, activity with our cursed objects.
Yeah, I will say there are a few objects, Liza being one of them, that I personally don't like to. Well, I shouldn't say I don't like to.
She can hear us, and that's what we're thinking
you, so be careful.
I know. I'm sitting here like,
the museum is traveling. We do a lot of events where we do bring objects and stuff. And Liza is one that causes a lot of vehicle issues. And backups and stuff like that. At
least what we think is, because we have done things without saying, Liza, we are taking you here or giving a warning, and our car's broken down more times than it should.
It's either a lot of coincidences or it's Liza. And and of course, we have noticed that there is this, psychological thing that happens to people when they believe that they've gotten a haunted object or a cursed object. Everything that starts to go wrong in their life, they automatically start blaming the object.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's just life. You know what I mean? If you never met that object or never came into your life, most likely sometimes that stuff still would have happened to you. But because that thought is in your head, you're automatically blaming something. So could that be the situation that's happening? But in my opinion, I think it's happened one too many times for that.
I'd also just like to add that we don't think she's an inhuman spirit. We just think she's not a very kind human spirit. You know what I mean? So not everybody's
more negative. Rather than a chaotic entity.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. And I have seen myself attachments, not necessarily to objects, but affect cars and things of that nature. Yeah. And to your other point, if you tell a person that you have put a hex on them or a curse, they most likely will believe it because they'll start to attribute everything that's wrong in their life to that, cursing.
Psychological.
Like psychological witchcraft.
Yeah, exactly.
Very interesting.
Comments. You have a lot of comments.
Oh, yeah, we do. Bubble of love can't be broke. Oh, I have to wholeheartedly agree with you there.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Let's see here. Might be best to leave her home. She might not be like traveling or being stared at.
On the contrary, it seems that she enjoys scaring people because activity ramps up almost in a playful way whenever something happens or someone gets startled. So it's always positive activity whenever she kind of gets what she wants out of it. I think when we don't warn her and we're not as respectful and we're just like, all right, we're taking you here without a fair warning or without telling her and making sure she feels respected, I think that's when the negative activity kind of happens. But other than that, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does seem a little spooky, but I guess that would be fun from the other side.
It's so normal in our life now. It's so normal.
The paranormal becomes normal.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should worry when that becomes the case.
We sound absolutely crazy, but we've kind of come to terms with it.
Yeah. No, we don't think you're crazy.
We don't think you're crazy.
Good.
It's everybody else. Absolutely.
How do you believe that an object can become haunted?
Well, I'll start this off and Tori can jump in. We definitely believe that there's kind of different categories when it comes to, there are footsteps and stuff happening that we're not sure what that is.
Is that why you're turning around and looking?
Did you see that? I'm sorry. I go into my ears always listening.
We understand. We
So,
do.
yeah, we do think that there's different types of attachments and things like that. So we definitely believe that the most common, at least out of the objects that we've come in contact with and have, is an object that just has an attachment. Somebody that has passed on that owned this object at one time and loved it a lot, like Satori mentioned in the beginning, and just wants to check in on it once in a while. We don't believe that they're always with the object, but they like to check in on it from time to time, especially when it switches owners and things like that. And then, on more rare occasions, you have, the possessed objects.
Yes, we feel that most of the objects that have at least given us enough evidence to claim they are haunted are object attachments, where someone's not always with this object. What is going on?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So ignore that. We had also dealt with a very select few of objects. We have a select few of objects that file under object possession. And what this is when a spirit, we believe, does not necessarily leave the object from time to time. They kind of stay with this object and use it as a physical conduit to interact with our plane of existence, our dimension. So, for example, Liza adjusts herself like she's a living being, and we always get activity with this object. It never really slows down. So that makes us think that maybe Liza is an object possession as opposed to another object that may do something every now and then. She's using this doll or whatever object in our museum to interact physically.
Right, and usually a lot of things that are used in occult practice and things like that, usually those type of objects will tend to be the possessed, type, just because of the certain rituals that are going on with the object. But there are some cases that it could just be an attachment. But like I said, I would say about 80%, 80 to 90%, probably even more than that, is just somebody just checking in on something that they love.
Interesting. And just wanted to let you know,
Yeah.
we heard some of the noise that you were referring to.
Oh, good.
Coming through here, and we actually just heard
heard an
some
EVP.
whispering as well. So we
Wonderful.
have to play this
Yep.
back. It's
I
actually
can't wait
wouldn't
to
be
play it back.
the first
Yeah,
time
play
this
it back.
actually
It might
happened.
be Liza for all
with
we know.
us.
We've been talking
It
about her a
sounded
lot.
like
Yeah,
it did. It sounded like a woman.
I heard
like
a little.
Yeah.
We have gotten EVPs where it sounds like a woman. If you hear an accent, we feel that is the EVP that mostly associates with her, because anytime we talk to her directly, we get some sort of accent with it too.
Oh yeah, we got listeners out there that heard it as well.
Yep.
So,
See?
Great.
yeah,
Oh,
I heard
okay.
that come right across. I
I'm
felt like
excited.
We both looked at each
Jada,
other like
oh,
this.
Jada,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's great.
That's
It's awesome.
pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's really intriguing,
I'm so excited.
I know, me
Right?
too.
right?
I love when stuff happens.
Yeah.
Yes,
Me too,
we do
too.
It's a little. It's not shocking anymore, but it's fun.
It
like you're
really
on
is.
something, and you wonder how those lines of communication are getting opened up.
It's like an adrenaline rush when something happens here. When something happens, we instantly go, yes, don't touch it. Let it keep going. So that's instantly what we do. So I'm really excited now.
It's awesome.
Now, if you were trying to banish or stop some activity, are there things that, on the physical plane besides your intentions that you use, or do you feel that the intentions are strong enough? Things like iron, like I've got a little thing here, something
Vial
a
of
lot
iron.
of people like, right? There's iron dust in there. And do you like things like that, or is there any go-to things you use for spirit removal?
So we don't necessarily practice or at least try to remove a spirit from an object. But when somebody asks us this question, I guess the information we would give them is, yes, your intention's probably one of the most strongest things when it comes to that, such as your religion, like your faith, what you believe works will really work. But it just depends on what you believe in. A lot of people, we recommend sage if they're more spiritualist, and I have no idea what's going on over there. There's sage if they're more spiritualist, crystals if they're more spiritualist or pagan or something like that. Somebody that's more Catholic or Christian, we always recommend, crosses and prayer cards and things that you believe in on that nature, bringing in a priest of some sort, whatever you really believe in.
Right, yeah. We like to, respect the client that we're dealing with by bringing in, somebody from their religious standpoints. And thankfully, with TAPS, we pretty much have a connection in any of the main types of religions that people are practicing, at least in our country, which we're very thankful for.
And
yeah,
I guess we would say our religion is everything. We don't really associate with one specific religion. We like to kind of take things from everywhere. And also, a lot of people ask us if we have our spaces blessed and we bring in a priest and stuff. And the reason we do not do that is because, one, we feel our intention is very powerful. And also, we have objects from all around the world. We have objects from Ecuador and Africa, like different African nations and China and all these different areas. And we feel that we can't bring in one specific faith without, kind of disrespecting the other objects here that in life may have believed something different.
Yeah, and when people come and visit, the objects in the museum, they usually do their own thing too. I mean, some people usually
heard that.
and stuff like that. Yeah, I know, right? This is this is
Someone's not happy.
Yeah, and
So,
Anne Marie Young mentioned that she's a friend of our show.
hi, Anne Marie.
She heard a woman, and she mentioned the accent as well. Just to throw that out.
wonderful.
There you go. So you guys are eclectic. You're like us. You take
Yeah.
from every religion. So basically,
Yeah.
that's what we do as well.
I wasn't brought up with in a religious household, so it was hard for me. I mean, the crux of what you're saying is you need to have faith in something, and those are the kind of things you should probably use if you're trying to banish some kind of
And
negative
make sure your
energy.
intentions are
And it was very hard for me
strong.
to do because I didn't have that religious background. It wasn't easy enough to say, well, I'll just carry it across because it frankly didn't mean a lot to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
it's taken a long time to kind of sift through things that might work for me or something I can believe in.
Mhm.
And I have to imagine there are other people out there like that. So it's not like one thing, if you're...
Yeah, I'm gonna check. You want to stay here for a second?
That's coming from, I think that's coming from the occult section, actually.
Oh my!
So he's going to go check on that. We'll let you know if something's flying off the wall. But, yeah, and what's really interesting about that also, those are dogs, just for anybody listening.
Oh, okay.
Just for, what's interesting also about religion, and to kind of add to your point, it seems that a lot of religions people don't realize kind of crisscross into each other. Every religion has something that kind of webs into one belief system: a higher power, a good and evil, a place you go after death. So whether you call it something that another person doesn't or not, you believe that there is something after death and you go somewhere. So I like to use a little bit of everything. I'm just like, well, we're going somewhere. We do something. We've proven that with these objects and with some of the stuff we've done. And you guys have done it too on your investigation. You've proven, you've gotten EVPs that kind of prove that there is something after. There is something after life. And
Right,
whatever
exactly,
you call it's one belief.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the driving forces in doing this is proof of an afterlife. We've always wanted to know, having had people that were close to pass and that sort of thing.
What happened, Cody?
Did you find anything?
So the only thing I found was this guy was tipped over.
Oh my!
Oh,
This is one that likes to definitely turn. I mean, he's usually sitting
okay?
like this. Yeah, he seems okay.
I want him to throw himself off the table.
He likes to turn because he's, he has two faces. He's a two-faced guy, and but he was tipped over. But there's definitely more noise happening than just this.
For those listening, that's a statue. It looks like maybe African origin or
Yes,
Yes.
it's an African idol.
African idol. Yeah, and he has a face on each side. He appears to be carved out of some kind of wood.
Do you know what the meaning of that is?
No, we have looked into this and we're doing more research as we speak because he is a fairly new object. We have found out that some of these seashells that are tied to these objects do, in a lot of cases, represent fertility and gods and deities. So this is some sort of. We also have another
Yeah,
mask.
it's very common these shells.
That's
they use
wild.
fertility and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that they use these shells a lot when it comes to trying to connect to a higher power or deity of some sort.
Right. Yes, and a lot of these African masks. This one originated from Africa. It was brought over to New Orleans about 25 years ago, and these masks, when they were made for different ceremonies, the maker made the mask with the intention that the mask would represent a deity or a god. And then the wearer of the mask during the ceremony would, embody the spirit of that deity and become that god during the ceremony. So, perfect reason why these types of objects would would hold significant energy because that's what they were intended to do. They were intended to be that plug to become and represent the deity during their ceremony.
And
so
I don't want him to break, so I'm going to leave him over here
Yeah, I
until
would put him
after
over here
because
for now.
I don't want
It's
him to throw
really
himself.
interesting, and you're right. It is. That was what it was created. That's what the intention was. One of the things we've talked about on the show before, with one of the people out there, our buddy Nathaniel, is Sumers, ancient Sumeria,
Sumerian.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
he would create statues of their gods, and they would worship them.
yeah,
Treat the statue as if it was the god, and everybody had to be respectful around it, molded.
exactly.
It's
There were a
beautiful.
whole series of
Yes.
very occult practices actually surrounding that creation and how they treated those objects. It was thought that the gods would possess the statue, and
Mhm.
that's how they could talk to humans.
Yes, haunted objects and object possession has been a thing for so long. And honestly, before people even kind of made collecting these haunted objects normal, it's always been something. We actually have an object that thousands of these would be made, and they would be for the purpose of helping to pass on somebody with the intention of it would kind of possess the spirit.
Yeah, so this was excavated from the Valley of the Kings area
Oh, wow.
in Egypt, and like Satori said, these would act as servants in the afterlife.
Mhm.
And the more of these you had in your tomb, the better off you were. That's what they believed in.
Right,
And,
with the seven underworld and the seven, you have to pass the 7
Mm-hmm.
gates.
Exactly. And then
Yeah.
on the flip side, dating back to the origins of these objects, the real first purposes were the creation of these effigies when Ramses III was ruling over the New Kingdom. A lot of people didn't like him.
They
A lot
would
of people,
curse and hex and use these objects to destroy them like voodoo dolls.
yeah, they were making usually wax, effigies of the pharaoh, and then, like the story said, just destroy them.
It's haunted objects. They've been around for thousands of years.
Yeah, they certainly have.
Yes, they have.
And that sounds like sympathetic magic to
Exactly.
Yes.
to destroy the object. That's really spooky.
Yep.
So if you guys got a call from Central and they called you and said, "Hey, it's 2 a.m. I need you to meet us at the haunted house on the corner of Main and Supernatural Boulevard," what would be the first thing you would grab?
Well, for me, any equipment that documents and data logs. Definitely a notebook and a pen would be, the first thing to write everything down. Big on recording and video. And then as far as equipment goes, I'm more the tech one. She's more the metaphysical
I'm more
one.
the spiritual one. I would grab the flashlight because he would forget it.
Yeah.
And then I would bring my own senses because let's be honest here, I can barely work a cell phone. I go into a space, I like to feel it out and feel what's kind of going on. I feel that my senses are one of the best tools that I can have.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. And I like the equipment that records the atmospheric readings. I went to school for physics, so I'm big on physics and just documenting the small things that maybe a lot of people overlook today. Things like the barometric pressure, humidity, and things like that.
Pressure.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
different, but we just work when the two different things come together.
It's we are exactly the same.
It's
I'm just like you, Satori. He's just like Cody.
I'm more the technical person. for sure.
Wonderful.
When are we investigating together, guys?
Yeah, right.
I know.
You got to put that together. Absolutely. When you do that kind of logging, Cody, are you finding common trends? Do you find that there are certain aspects that
The barometric
reveal themselves through
Pressure.
the logging?
Absolutely. Barometric pressure, when it drops, there's, automatically things that happen. Over the years, I've come to believe that EVP is transmitted through electromagnetic energy. Electromagnetic energy is the only natural form of energy that mimics audio waves. It can travel. So over the years, there's been experiments done where they've recorded an EVP inside of a bell jar, inside of a vacuum. And, audio, you need a material medium for audio to travel through.
Right.
So, that wouldn't work inside of a vacuum.
Right.
But for some reason, you're able to catch EVP inside of a vacuum.
So you have captured the EVP in a vacuum. Because I've actually theorized that you might not be able to, because I always feel like they use some kind of existing noise, whether it's your breath. I think that's why a lot of them sound breathy. Anything could be birds or something. They're almost taking the noise and manipulating it and putting it on the recorder. But you're saying it's electromagnetic energy too. Please expound on that, because that's really interesting.
Sure. So I've had better luck on the type of microphone that I use as well. So I get better results on a dynamic microphone rather than a condenser microphone, which would make sense. So an experiment that you can easily do, if anybody plays an electric guitar and has an amplifier, what you can do is take some music, play some music, and plug a jack into whatever you're playing the music. If you're playing on your phone, plug a wire into the phone, and then plug it into the input on the amp, and then plug your guitar into the headphone jack on the amp, and then play the music. Turn the amp on, turn the volume all the way up. You won't hear anything. But if you take a dynamic microphone and point it at the pickups on the guitar, you're going to hear the music clearly.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's being broadcasted out through electromagnetic energy, through the electromagnetic pickup in the guitar. So this would make sense because EMF, electromagnetic energy, is a natural form of energy that's able to mimic the same waveforms as audio. It can be happening around us right now, and we're not able to hear it with our own ears, which would totally make sense with how EVP is captured, how the recorder records it without us hearing it, and in some cases, depending on how well you can hear. I mean, the human ear, if you have perfect hearing, can hear between 20 hertz and 20,000 hertz or 20 kilohertz. That's if you have absolute perfect hearing. Sometimes, I no longer
hear it that well.
Exactly. Sometimes, depending on how well you can hear, sometimes we get little glimpses of what we're hearing. The other thing I've noticed is when we've recorded, at least when I've recorded some of my clips, I've gotten little blips on like a natural tri-field meter. I usually have that really close to the microphone, and I found that there's really like a 3-foot radius around the microphone where this happens. So the microphone would have to be really close to the source of this EVP, which would also make sense on why one recorder might pick up a sound and another one, 10 foot away, wouldn't pick up the sound. I could talk about this for hours.
Can you tell that it just goes right over my head?
We've got a little time, and so I would like to talk about some of that.
We actually talk about this a lot.
Yeah, we do. It's some of our experiences. Like this guy here, right, is a little Tascam recorder. Sometimes, I'm sure you've seen that. The DR5 is pretty common. Sounds good, it's good quality recorder. We've used it so much. Sometimes when it is interacting with spirit or recording something, it'll appear to be overdriven. It's almost like it's fried the electronics, and it has a light on it that tells you, if you're too close to a noise or whatever, and you can put it somewhere so it's not being overdriven, but you'll play it back and it'll make like this sound on it. And sometimes the light will just come on even though the noise has not increased or anything. Something, and it's very strange. So to your point about electromagnetic energy, it's kind of like it is getting zapped.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, if you have multiple recorders, I would definitely try, recording simultaneously. If you have a recorder that has multiple channels, use a dynamic microphone on one channel, a condenser microphone on the other channel. Usually most recorders have built-in condenser microphones. That's usually what they are. And see, which channel, or which recorder you get, the clearer clip on. I tend to have better luck with the dynamic microphone, which would make sense, because of the way they work, especially if EVP is, being transmitted through, emerging electromagnetic fields,
Yeah, that's really cool. I had really thought that maybe EVPs couldn't happen in a vacuum for the reason I stated, that they almost always are using some sort of other natural sound that's in the environment, be it your breath, but obviously people whisper a lot of times. That's probably most of the EVPs we are out there. People forget, the so-and-so was whispering behind you. But the legit ones, a lot of times have that whispery sound. It's almost like they're using that, just the natural breath and then turning it into
Air.
something else.
Like you said.
What were we going to say? Oh, you were trying to point out to me the thing about you can have two also
Yes.
recorders going, and one might get the EVP, the other might not
We get that
get
a
anything
lot.
at all. It's almost as if they select the microphone they
Exactly.
wish to speak to, and we've had instances where they selected our ears as the microphone
Mhm.
and not the recorder, and that was pretty interesting.
And you know what's interesting? Because you mentioned that it's kind of like a breathy sound when you get an EVP. We've dealt with so many cases and claims from people that have said, "Oh, I think this is negative. I've heard voices that sound raspy and mean and gross and horrible."
Yeah.
And
It's hard for them to talk.
Yes, and I was going to say that it seems that a lot of the EVPs we gotten aren't malicious. They're not mean or being aggressive. It's just it takes a lot of energy for them to speak without vocal cords that they may have had in life. So they need to use a lot of energy in order to get these noises out to make words. And sometimes it comes out a lot scarier than it really is.
We agree. Yes, we've heard that before
Absolutely.
as well.
I agree. It's almost like you attribute the fear to it, not really the spirit, if you will. But to further that point, I'll just say one more thing about this recorder. One of our investigations, Kristen was using this, and she had a noise canceling headset on some of these headphones. So everything she was hearing was through the recorder. We were walking together, and we both heard somebody yell, "Hello!" Scared the crap out of us. Like,
We have a huge clip of this in our store.
What was really interesting, everything she's hearing is coming through this. We both heard it. I didn't have it on. I'm looking around for something,
There's
for
nobody
people.
around.
I thought there was somebody
Seriously.
behind us. Like, it was really loud.
It's a serious paranormal.
It was
moment.
not in the recording.
None of them. I had another recorder as well.
So
Yeah.
it was as if the microphone was our ears, and they chose our ears to hear
Instead,
what they wanted us to hear.
Not one of them. We had three of them going. Not one
not
of
the
them picked it
recorder.
up.
Yeah.
You
We have
guys
another
are
recorder about 30 feet from that.
You
but-
guys are so similar to us. I mean, I was going to say welcome to our lives. We have an object that is like a 4-foot tall doll, and she moves around this room. She's in the top 5 most haunted objects. And we have 2 motion cameras to this side of the room, and she managed to get to the other side of the room to here without getting on any of the motion cameras. It's like she teleported. And we don't have any proof of it. It's absolutely crazy. So welcome to our lives.
That's nuts.
That's wicked cool.
Yeah.
I love. Yeah, you can tell we're from New England, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's wicked cool. I'm gonna go
love
park
that.
my car.
Yeah. Wicked cool friends.
Right.
Sorry, babe. Satori, I want to ask you, you have the most beautiful name ever. How did you get your name?
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I guess I should thank my father for that because if you look at my family, I'm one of 6. And all the names are Samantha, Haley, Austin, Logan, Connor. So those are the names. And it seems that my dad kind of wanted to put this different name smack dab in the middle of everything because it's just Samantha, Haley, Satori. And the reason for this name is my dad's really big into the spiritual side of things, obviously. And this name it's Japanese. It's actually Buddhist, and it means enlightenment or awakening, like inner awakening.
Oh, it's
so
awesome.
yeah, so it's a good symbolism for me, I guess you could say. It's like a spiritualism, awakening, inner awareness kind of thing.
It's a perfect match for you. It's
Thank you
beautiful.
very
That is a beautiful name. That's cool.
You're welcome.
That's nice stuff.
Thank
But now,
you.
did somebody say yes in the middle of that, or did that just do it?
No, they like to talk sometimes, though.
Okay. I
Yeah,
heard that.
I heard that.
I heard something. Yes.
I love this. This is
So
great.
yeah, this is going to be very interesting to play
I
back.
can't wait to play this back.
Quite a
we
few-
should just do live streams or calls together and let you record and just sit here.
We've gotten things on calls. We've got one of our best EVPs.
Yeah,
from
actually,
my house that we
a
were
call
calling
experiment. Yeah,
on
where,
this.
where she we called each other, and I put her on speakerphone and did the recording.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Since the whole pandemic, we've gotten so many reports and emails of people hearing things over Zoom calls because Zoom and Skype and
Mhm.
all of these video things, FaceTime, have been used 1,000% more than they used to.
Sure.
And people would be catching up, about whatever is going on, then all of a sudden just hear a voice, sometimes that they recognize as, maybe their grandparent that had passed away and stuff like that. So we've been getting a lot of emails and a lot of people. We've had, instances where we've done, Zoom calls together, Satori and myself and a few of our friends sometimes, and all of a sudden we hear voices coming through.
Sure.
So it is something, and very similar to the whole recording. It's the same exact thing as a digital recorder, because, you have the microphone on one end and the speaker on the other, which makes total sense as to why that could be possible,
Sure. A lot of times there's a little bit of white noise there too, and it'll take that white noise and
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
Who we're talking to is especially high today. We've noticed that we have gotten things. Sometimes it is just white noise, and sometimes we'll play it back and go, "Oh my God, you hear that? There's a word. It's a whole sentence right there." Yeah, it's that. And I think in our case, it's definitely something talking. But I actually, just because I have it up here on the board, I'll actually play that clip for you where we called.
Oh,
yes,
wonderful!
Please.
Yeah, I'd love to.
So yes, one of our clearer EVPs.
It's me. Hear it?
Hear the overdriven?
Or this box or that box.
Yeah, so that sound is
That's
this
the
thing.
sound. It
I was
gets
telling you,
touched.
like it's being overdriven, but it's not.
Yeah.
We've gotten a couple EVPs where it seems that our recorders have just it's almost like something happens.
Being
High
interfered with,
pitch
yeah, for sure.
Yes.
interference.
Yeah.
Yes, we just got that the other day, as a matter of fact, too.
We're just setting up like some boxes. We tell them we're talking to this box,
this box,
talking to that box. We weren't
bullshit.
even really thinking we're going to get any answers yet. We're going to do like a spirit box session, and right in the middle of it, you'll hear a voice that goes, "I'm going to say it." I'll just play it one more time, real quick, because I think I talked over her when she was talking. But that's the EVP. It wasn't us. There was nobody home in either home.
Or this box or that box.
Well, they
You're right.
wanted to say something, and they
Yeah, she
apparently
wanted to say
did.
something. She also said a bad word after that. Too.
It was a guy. The guy
Oh, goodness,
said
God,
a-hole after that.
It sounds very sassy too. I'm gonna say it.
Yes.
Like you can't stop
Say
me.
it.
I
Yep.
think that's the woman. I have two women in my home, and I think that's the sassy one. I'm going to start calling her that.
Yeah, that's what you
Yeah, I
should
think
call
that's
her.
her.
So it's just interesting.
I love that.
Covered a
Thank
couple
you.
of things we were talking about with the overdriven.
Yeah,
And-
the box.
Yeah, there was no reason for that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of comments.
That's very interesting. So you log barometric pressure. What other kind of things do you log? Like moon phases, things of that nature?
Satori does the moon phase thing for sure. So humidity is a big one for me. Temperature is a huge thing. That having a good temperature sensor, like a really accurate one that records its findings, which thankfully today they're available. There's little pods you can get that hook up through Bluetooth and things like that record their findings, like weather apps and things like that, which works amazing because theoretically it's scientifically proven that when a human walks into a room, a living person or an animal or anything like that, the atmospheric conditions change in that room. It might be very minuscule, but they absolutely change. No matter what, they change. So theoretically, the same thing should happen if some form of energy is entering the room as well. It should be minuscule, but it should happen. Whether it's affecting the barometric pressure, the temperature, or something else. So I think the more atmospheric conditions we record, the better we can correlate an EVP or another piece of evidence we record on a camera or something like that. Because if you're documenting a change and you record something on a video recorder at the same time, then that's a lot more interesting to me because you have more than one thing, and you actually have black and white data to go with your piece of evidence. So another big thing is syncing everything up so it's on the same timestamp. A lot of investigators, which I've done this before. But now I pay a lot more attention to it, is, when you get to a case, a lot of people, they just want to start recording right away, and they throw the batteries in and they fast forward through setting the date and the time on their recorders. And then, because they just want to get to recording. But the big thing that that, I think everybody should do, especially if you're in a team setting, is, take the time to make sure that every recorder that everybody's using is synced up to, as close as you can get it to the same time. Because, that's going to, of course, make it a lot easier in the long run when trying to correlate all of this data that you're recording to see if there's anything that's any patterns that's showing up and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So just the simple things that a lot of people are looking over can really make a huge difference in the success of finding something that is a little odd.
Well put. Well put. That's interesting.
No, really.
To use things, I guess, would you use that with a phone or a laptop, those kind of sensors, or are you talking about specific pieces of equipment like the EDI or the Melmeter, things of that nature?
Yeah, I do have some EDIs. They work well. As far as temperature, I do find that I want a little more of a more accurate temperature than the EDI provides. So they do have these things. You can get them on like Amazon and stuff like that and different platforms. That it looks like a cube. That's probably about this big, and it records. You can set it to record every second, every half a second, every quarter of a second, right down to an eighth of a second, I believe. And it records all of its finding to a phone or a tablet, whatever you want to hook it up to, and with a timestamp, which is great, and the date, and then you can export that data to a folder or something, so you can correlate it with everything else. And it's getting a reading. It shows a timestamp where it gets the reading, which is really great, and it's a really accurate reading because I found that when equipment has more than one function, they usually try putting a lot of functions into one piece of equipment. Of course, you only have so much room, and the more functions you put into a piece of equipment, it seems like it downgrades the quality on each of those variables. So I like to try to, if you have a piece of equipment, I like to try to make sure it's doing one function, because if it does one function, it's going to do great at just doing that one function. The EDI meter is great. I mean, you can absolutely see differences. I've definitely seen barometric pressure differences with the EDI meter. But I think for if you really want to dive deep into this whole subject, I think getting a sensor that just measures barometric pressure, just measures humidity, just measures temperature, then I think you'll see the results, a little more clearly, and be able to document those patterns down to the decimal point. Which if there is some changing happening in the environment, sometimes that's what it is. Sometimes it's in the 10th or the 1,000th decimal point that you see these things. And a lot of these, pieces of equipment you can buy that's meant for, investigating just isn't that accurate. It works, but it's not that accurate yet.
Right. And I don't think you should be reliant on those tools. There's no true ghost detector. A lot of times
right.
Simpler electronics that are just kind of repackaged. Although, I have a Melmeter and it has like a REM pod and it has a lot of things like in it.
Yeah.
And, it's cool. I like it. But like one of the functions it has is to measure temperature changes if it moves like quick enough. And like what I always found is that if you're in an investigation and you have a group of people in a room, the temperature is going to rise, right? So like it always happens, and it sets it off, and then it just adds this like annoying noise because there's more people in the room.
Right.
So I never use that function.
Right. The other thing is, if you are going to, really pay attention to the atmosphere, you have to make sure that, whatever you're using, whatever, data logging sensors that you're using, is that they're completely stationary. Because, when you move around, of course, the temperature is going to change, on one side of the room sometimes compared to the other. So make sure that everything is locked down, and that's when you'll get your really accurate readings, because you're only measuring that one vicinity. And, the more of these sensors you have, placed out throughout the location or the room, the more accurate your findings will be.
we talked about haunted dolls. What other sorts of objects and what would be the most unusual object that you guys have come across that was haunted in some way?
Well, I'm trying to see stuff that's right in front of us right now.
Yeah.
These are.
I'm laughing.
Yeah.
I was laughing because when Cody was talking, Satori's just looking around like, man, what's happening?
Okay, so sometimes I look very oblivious. I'm like a little kid in my own world just staring around. But I promise you, if things are happening, I'm just like, my mind goes off and I'm trying to figure it out while sitting here.
Exactly. I saw that. I'm like, and that's why I kind of giggled while he was talking. I didn't mean to, but.
Do you think they can you guys even see this
I can
object?
light it up.
There you go. Yeah, that's helping.
So
Okay. Oh,
these are a new addition,
All right, I
a pretty
see
new addition. These are, I believe, 1930s child polio braces.
Wow.
And they were given to us. They were brought into our possession because it is believed that, they think that there is still a child that may have suffered in these braces at one point. So for some reason, the claims associated with this object, somebody had gotten it and just instantly was like, okay. So it seems that the feet move a lot on this object. We have recorded the feet moving once, just of the bottom, the boots. It's almost like these really adorable, old-timey looking boots on the bottom. And we've recorded them. You can actually see some of the feet are angled up.
adorable is a subjective word.
Huh?
Adorable is a subjective word. I'm looking at them. I'm like, oh,
It has these
these are like leg
embroidery.
braces for those of you who can't see it. It's like metal leg braces with kind of shoes at the
From the
bottom,
1930s.
leather
Yes.
straps.
And they have like these embroidery boots on the bottom. It's very strange. You'd have to see it in person. But the feet, we've caught the feet moving once. We can't, instantly say that this object is haunted because we've only had it happen, one time, and we can't necessarily instantly say, "Oh, this is paranormal." We have to kind of come up with logical explanations.
Right. Yeah, we do
These are
find.
heavy.
Yeah, we do find that a portion of the objects just seem to have some sort of energy. I mean, not really an energy, a spirit per se. Maybe kind of similar to a residual type energy that just kind of sticks around with it. So yeah, we definitely have some objects that do seem to have some of that residual stuff that's just
And
hung on to it.
one of the most haunted objects in our museum, she is also in the top 5 because she has proven her claim more recently, and we've had to monitor her since then, is a Christmas tree topper. If Cody wants to get it out of the case, he can do that. And the claim with this object, we call her Death Angel, because the claim with this object is she has been responsible for 3 Christmas tree fires. 2 in the same year, 1 the next year.
Wow.
Yes, and they believe the first time, obviously, I believe the husband was an electrician
Right.
of some sort, so he knew that he was like, this shouldn't have happened. Obviously, we were like, okay, well, maybe it was just a coincidence, and they went, no, it happened 3 times. And so they had managed to tell us she came perfect. She had nothing, maybe a little dirt on the bottom of her. And, we just gave her the claim Death Angel because it seems that the family had almost had their entire house burned down with them in it the last time. It was a very, very bad time. And it was given to us, and we had brought her here, put her in a case, quarantined her away from objects because honestly, this is an intense claim. We don't know what to do with this. So we had taken this and nothing had happened. So we had put her case locked over here in this section, kind of to monitor her near, obviously, a fire alarm, a smoke alarm. So we had come down here, and it's still on the wall. She is now, if you show closer, she is covered in soot. We had come down here, and we had noticed her. Cody went to grab her for a live stream.
Oh,
She
yeah.
is now covered
Yeah,
in soot, almost as if a candle or a fire was lit under her. She is cardboard, so she would have caught fire if she had actually had a fire. There's soot in her case. We noticed that none of the smoke alarms went off. We got really nervous because we wanted to make sure there wasn't an actual fire at one point. And there is a soot handprint that looks to be a childlike handprint. I can send you the photos after if you'd like. On the wall by her case. It's actually sitting right here, and we haven't removed any of this because we thought that this is absolutely insane.
Wow.
So-
And this is all new since you've had the doll.
Yes,
Or
this
the
is
tree
all.
topper angel.
So you would think that she would have caught fire with the other, Christmas trees being
Right.
on top of the Christmas
Right.
trees.
It's odd that she didn't catch fire, but the
she's
tree did.
cardboard.
Yeah,
So-
she is cardboard.
That
And
is insane.
Perfectly fine.
it's absolutely insane. And, you know, we worried because we thought fire, but it seems we remembered it was after a live stream we had done with a friend of ours, Matt Warner. And on this live stream, we had said, oh, nothing has happened with this object yet. Seems she hasn't proven her claim just yet. And it almost was like you want to see me prove my claim kind of action, because now she's covered in soot. There was no damage to anything. It was just like somebody finger painted with soot. And we had bleach tested this because someone had given us the advice to bleach test to see if it's actually soot or mold. And we had done a bleach test and it stayed black, which means that it is mold. I mean, it is soot. It is soot. Sorry, correction.
No, it's okay.
Gotcha. I thought I could see a little even on her face there. That.
Oh my!
Yeah,
yes,
there is
some on her face. I'm sorry. I speak so fast. It is.
That's
so
okay.
Oh yeah, you can see it. So that's all since you've had the doll.
Wow.
Yes, we have not
That was
wanted
your
to touch
rebuttal.
her,
Yeah.
the bottom of her since then, because we don't want to remove any of the evidence we have. So we haven't done anything.
Yeah, some of our earlier live streams on our page, we show her, and she's clean, because that's what we did when we first brought her in. We dusted her off, because it seemed like there was like a little soot or dirt on her that was very similar to this, not as much as this, because it looked like they had cleaned her off before they gave it to us. But she stayed like that for at least a few months. Until we did that last interview there.
Yeah, you'll see us freak out because we noticed it in the middle of the live stream. We had noticed soot on her before it, and we did the live stream right away. I'm like, guys, you will not believe what just happened. And as we're talking, you'll see me look up and go, Cody. And we stop and look up, and we notice the handprint is literally sitting right there on the wall. And we just stared at it for a minute, and then he started chuckling because he didn't even know what to do with this information. So we took photos and measured it.
Wow. That's insane. I can't.
You think having all those objects around each other are creating a bigger portal, if you will, paranormal
There you
energy that's allowing speakers, allowing spirits to come through.
Exactly. And there's a lot of difference. It's not. I mean, dolls are a big thing right now. Like I said, dolls is probably if you're going to put everything in topics, that's probably the one with the most. But
and
we have
clowns. We have a lot of clowns too.
Oh yeah, a lot of clowns.
I believe
clown figurines and things like that. And then we have like an entire occult section, a doomsday cult section, a serial killer true crime section.
Which we always say that we are not trying to keep their. You know what we mean? We're not trying to glorify somebody that has done something so horrible like that. If anything, we are also including the names of all the victims. And the reason we have these objects in the first place is because it is believed that there's energy attached to these objects after those situations.
Right. There's a belief that some groups of people believe that anything that belonged to one of these either doomsday cults or one of these horrible human beings possesses some sort of power or energy. Personally, I don't believe that. I don't believe Tori believes that
I
either.
think maybe energy may be embedded in a location, a piece of a location if something.
Which we have a whole section of pieces. We have a piece of the Amityville house here, and a lot of people claim that they feel energy off of that. If anything, like Satori said, with the objects that are in those titles that we have, I think it's just an energy thing. I mean, people definitely believe or think that they feel some sort of energy off of this stuff, and I think that's as far as it goes, which is why we have it. I mean, when you come to visit the museum, there's different, there's always paper where you can write down, what you're feeling,
what you feel attached towards,
right.
And you guys are gonna have to be the judge of that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say you guys are gonna have to be the judge of that, especially if you see the museum.
Oh, yeah, we definitely want to see.
We want to,
absolutely.
But I was going to ask you. I didn't know what that object was before the boots with the polio, and when you brought it out, I felt very, very sad. And then you started saying what it really was.
Yeah, it is sad, but it's.
Go
ahead.
I didn't know what it was though at the time. So, Satori and Cody, do you guys feel like that? Do you feel things like you're clairsentient?
Yes, to an extent. I mean, I think I feel it more than Cody in the sense of he's more database. He needs concrete evidence, and I just kind of like to feel things out. I'll tell him if I feel something, an attachment to something. The mask we had shown you, I get some feelings off of that. Some of the dolls, especially Liza, I get some feelings off of. And we actually have an object that makes a lot of people, especially those that are more sensitive to feeling, get some emotions. And we don't want to tell you any of the story about it. We kind of want to grab it and see what you feel.
Okay.
So we're quizzing you on this.
It's awesome.
So we do this. We don't like to share all the stories, but we want to see what you feel. This is a large object.
Well, I mean, the visual aspect of it is it's a sad clown. So, your first instinct might be to say, well, it's sad, right?
I have like knee-ish. It's making
Anxiety.
me anxiety.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'll tell you. Okay, can I tell a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, so all I'm going to say is that the claim is emotional change. And the claim is it's like a total different person after he had owned this object. And it was very, negative emotions that came after owning this object. And it altered his life a lot. So I don't want to give away too much information, but I'm going to say that.
Yeah, I would like to touch it and see if I felt anything that way.
That's what we do. We love touching things for the energy. But we're not going to do that when we go there.
I know we're gonna leave you in the museum and turn around. And you guys
lock the door. See you guys. Have a good weekend.
No,
actually, I would actually like that.
He would. I do too much, so I can't. That's great.
Kristen be clawing at the door.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we got your opinions on that.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you. Thank you for showing us.
Yeah, well, it's hard. I mean, it's a clown with a sad face, so.
Yeah, well,
sad, but I felt like that was too easy.
Yeah, some people like to say
Yeah.
sad instantly, and that is part of the equation, but that's not it. It's not all of it.
no, it gave me like very nervous.
There's got to be some other part. So, how do people see the museum? Tell us about that. How do they come see you guys?
So the museum currently, at least for the next few years, is a traveling exhibition.
Not forever.
Not forever, because it'll be in a permanent location. Like I said, in a few years, but for now, it's a fully traveling exhibition, which will travel to different states in the United States. Everything packed into a really big truck, and it's a very immersive experience. So there's different sceneries that we build, set walls and stuff like that.
Cool.
That just kind of puts you in that environment, so you can feel whatever emotions are coming off of these objects, and really, make you feel like you're there, depending if it's something from Africa or something that was involved in something really bad or sad.
And we're putting a lot of work into this, and it may not be the most amazing interactive experience, but it's something we put so much work in to make you feel like you are walking into these situations. For instance, we have built exhibits that portray the location that this object was taken from, for example. Like, we try our best to kind of give you a glimpse into what that would have been like.
Right, exactly. So there's the first exhibit date, the first big thing for this year is the weekend of September 18th in Connecticut, in Bosworth, Connecticut. It's actually at a location where we filmed an episode of Ghost Nation it's called the Primitive Crow. It's an antique shop that we already know has activity, and it's interesting. So the museum mainly goes to different locations that are claimed to have activity and are big enough to hold the museum, because we're bringing hundreds of objects with us, to display in different sections and things like that. So you'll have a chance to either just come in and tour the museum, which you can do, and we'll tell you stories. You can read stories. There's going to be television screens.
Ask any
you can
questions.
watch. Or if you're brave enough, you can investigate. There's going to be different. At least with the first event, there's 3 ghost hunting sessions that you can choose from, and they're 2-hour sessions. So you can just get an idea of what it's like to be investigating around these objects and inside of a haunted location. which, I can't imagine, all that energy being in one place, the different emotions that you would feel.
Sure.
But yeah, if you just want to come and tour, you can do that. Or if you want to investigate, you can do that as well.
All of the information is actually on our Facebook page, the Paranormal Couples Haunted Museum, on our website, paranormalcouple.com. And we actually hope to see you two there. We hope to see you, hopefully, if you can make it out to Connecticut. If not, we'll try to get closer. But we'd like
Yeah, we'll
to
look into that. That would be fun. I would love to.
We're going to, we're invited to Paracon, right? Paracon?
Which one?
Ocean State.
No. Is it
Ken's?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
so,
are you guys going to be
I
there?
heard that's going to. That's
So,
happening.
Are we allowed to
That's
say
good.
it?
I don't
No, no.
Well, you may see us and you may see objects there.
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
Yes.
It's in the realm of
That's all
possibility.
we'll say, because I don't know if Cody will get in trouble.
Yeah.
I don't wanna
I
get
don't know
you.
if Ken would yell at me.
Yeah, it's kind of process
so
of working that out.
Yes.
But
that-
yeah, it looks like it might be a real thing this year, which would be wonderful.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Absolutely.
Everybody's getting out now. And
Yeah, for sure. So, but we'd
Can't
like to
wait.
come see you in Connecticut, and I'll look into that. When is that date for that again?
September
17th,
17th and
18th, and 19th.
and 19th.
The tour
Okay.
dates are the 18th and 19th. There's one ghost hunt session that's happening on Friday night at 7 o'clock. But yeah, tickets just went on sale for that. If anybody wants to come online, like Satori said, if you have trouble finding our Facebook page, the Facebook page.
And you can always message us, and we'll
Yeah.
send you links to everything.
Facebook page is Paranormal Couples Haunted
That's great.
Museum, and the website is just paranormalcouple.com. And, you can just follow the links. And, you can also buy tickets at the door, at least for the general admission, just to take a tour and stuff.
Oh, it sounds awesome. That sounds really cool. Yeah, I would love to see you guys out there.
well, we live like a hop, skip, and a jump away from you. So after this, we're going to your house.
Okay.
You're just going to show up.
We're gonna show up and just don't lock us in, though. Okay.
Okay. Well, can't promise.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
What can you tell us? We got a little bit of time left. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with Ghost Nation and how did that come about and what's it like being on there?
Sure. So, Ghost Nation is definitely interesting for both of us. It's definitely
Ghost
been an
Nation
interesting
was.
experience.
I liked it a lot because it was a more unified platform. It was a show that brought in other people from other teams, and it really tried to kind of show that there's a huge network of paranormal investigators around the country. And we had a great time doing that. Some of the most amazing cases we've ever done have been for Ghost Nation. It was absolutely phenomenal. And sad thing is you can only fit so much into one episode, so there's a lot that went on that, didn't actually make the cut. Actually, my father is filming for Ghost Hunters. Ghost Hunters is coming back right now.
So Ghost Nation has ended. It wasn't canceled or anything. But like
It's kind of
Satori said,
merged.
the name, title Ghost Hunters is coming back, and it should be really interesting because we're getting the old team back together and everything. Which
Wow.
is really great to
I think it's really cool.
watch everything. Too.
I think it's going to be amazing for people to kind of see the taps back again on the screen. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Definitely.
The OGs.
The OG. That's right.
Well, that was
Thank
really
you so
cool.
much.
Yeah.
So, we're looking forward to definitely checking you guys out. And it's paranormalcouple.com, right? Not the
Yeah.
paranormal.
Either one.
Either one
will
would
lead
work.
you to
One
the
goes
same place.
to you? Okay.
And
got both.
I know you guys do a lot of Facebook live streams. It seems like you just kind of do them when you feel up to it. I don't know if you plan those things out. So I've just noticed a few pop up on my feed.
Yeah, mine too.
Say hi. I
Notifications.
you guys last week.
That's right.
We're
Yeah.
trying to stick to a schedule.
Right.
We are trying.
Yes. Yeah. We do go live on Facebook.
Been
quite
busy
often.
with the museum.
Right. It's kind of hard to do that when you're busy. Like,
And you guys have a big following on TikTok as well, right?
On
Yeah,
accident,
surprisingly,
actually.
yes. Which has worked out great because you're attracting a totally different generation than you normally would, which is interesting, which is really cool, and that has definitely played a huge role in the amount of packages that we get every
Oh my
week.
goodness.
oh, wow.
Wow.
So yeah. That was a thing that was started by accident, and that's kind of where like the whole paranormal couple name just kind of stuck, and that was all through TikTok. which has turned out to actually end up pretty good for us in the end.
We've helped a lot of people that way, and I'm thankful.
Yeah. We do go live on there as well. We go live on Facebook, and then and then we just started the members only thing.
We did start a Patreon, which is fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
Tell us
good.
about that.
Yes. Some little perks.
Yeah, so you can become a museum member, and you get sent a card, and that gets you into the museum, unlimited, as many times as you want for free.
And it'll stay when we get our location too.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
Very cool.
so you can get a whole membership kit, and all that information is on our website as well. Satori is also doing a subscription box.
I am.
Where she makes.
I have a little fake one right here.
Yeah. So she makes a box specifically for each person that subscribes to it. So
just with some little goodies, along with the other stuff you also get on the tier. A lot of spiritual stuff because, again, my name's Satori. It's Buddhist. It's enlightenment, as you can see with the little Buddha symbol on the box. So I kind of just add some
really
things.
cool.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, you do more of the metaphysical side. Like I've seen you do readings and stuff on here too. You do past readings, so that's
you would get readings with these subscriptions too.
Right. Yes. Yeah. There's another tier
personal
where
one.
Satori can do video readings, one-on-one with you. There's one tier that seems to be really popular. Is the case file tier, where we send you like an actual case file for one of the objects once a month in the mail. And then we go over them live once a month on our secret Facebook page for the members, and we get some different insight into stuff, little avenues that we probably didn't recognize before.
I love this.
Which is great because we get to hear from everybody that's involved, and we love connecting with people.
That is awesome. So yeah, guys, do check them out. ParanormalCouple.com. Find the Haunted Museum and Paranormal Couple on Facebook and follow them. Check out that Patreon. It sounds really cool. And we appreciate you guys coming on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
TikTok too. I'm newish at the TikTok.
My 13-year-old was trying to teach me last night.
He's much better than we are.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to be posting more soon, so stay tuned. If you get on TikTok, stay tuned.
Right on. We'll do that. But thank you very much.
Thank you again.
It's been great to talk, and we'll be in touch. We'd love to come out and see you guys.
Yes, please.
That'd be awesome.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. And that's about most of the time we have for today on Bigfoot and the Bunny. We do appreciate Cody and Satori joining us. We will be back next week. And let me see yours. Our guest next week is Gail Hawes, and I hope I am not butchering her name. I'm sorry, Gail. But Gail will be on with us next week. So we're looking forward to that. And we'll see you guys next time. Be there, be square. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.